What do you think of Philly's current funding system? Does it need to change?
For the Philly public schools, I would say yes, it definitely is not a system that seems to be working right now. I don't think that they have a good sense at any given time of how much money they can count on between like the state and the city council, and it makes it really hard to do long-term planning, and it makes it really hard to make sure that like all of the schools are getting the funding that they need.
Where is our school missing in terms of funding? What do we need? More programs, sports, supplies?
I think we need to compare us to, I think, other even suburban public schools. The disparities are so sharp. It's hard to even explain them. Like I think facilities are definitely an issue. I think they've been investing in this school in a lot of ways in terms of facilities, but facilities, equipment, it's kind of across the board that we are struggling in a lot of ways. Teachers, short on teachers in a lot of ways.
On to the next question. Do you notice disproportionate funding between schools in Philadelphia? If so, name some examples of schools, and why do you think the funding is disproportionate?
Wait, say that part again.
Sorry. So I said, do you notice disproportionate funding between schools in Philadelphia? Then, if there are schools that have disproportionate funding, name some examples, and why do you think it's unequal?
So I think that there are a couple of different categories of disproportionate funding in schools. I think that you sometimes see schools that have more or less input from alumni or parent associations, just depending on like the demographics of the school. So for example, someplace like Central High School with a very long standing alumni association can easily like go to their alumni and like solicit donations and say like, hey, can you fund this project that we're doing, or could you fund this extra like position? And so sometimes the newer schools can't do that kind of thing. A lot of the older high schools have that capacity. I think you sometimes see it in elementary schools if you're in a like working class neighborhood versus more like a middle class neighborhood. You might have like more parent support in the building and more like donations to home and school and those kinds of things that make an impact on the quality of life in schools. And I think you see it sometimes in other ways too that are just like not as transparent because we don't necessarily see all the details of every school budget or even like how they're determined.
All right, so last question. How much money do you spend on classroom necessities for the classroom annually?
I try not to think about it too much. If I had to guess, like necessities,
Yeah, like tissues, pencils, papers, markers, stuff like that.
probably
At the sign.
700 to 1,000 a year.
All right, that's good.
Okay, thank you.